It's over. It's finally over. The longest Senate leader in American history is calling it quits. We're going to look at the announcement that sent shockwaves throughout D.C. and what it means for the future of the Republican Party. And then
the Supreme Court has just decided it will take up Trump's immunity case at the end of April. The decision's expected in June. This will put Jack Smith's January 6 case on hold for now.
A huge ruling from the Supreme Court that's putting the whole of Jack Smith's case against Trump in doubt. We're going to see the latest. And then
what that will tell Donald Trump, if by then he is president, is that he can never leave the office of the presidency. And if he is voted out in 2028, he cannot leave office, and he is willing to he is welcome to commit any crimes he wants to.
Rachel Maddow and the lunatics at MSNBC are already melting down over the Supreme Court's decision. Butter the popcorn, gang. Sit back. This is going to be good. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Let's dive right in. In a stunning speech on the Senate floor, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell announced that he was finally stepping down from Republican leadership. McConnell, as we've noted, is the longest-serving Senate leader in history and is considered by the Republican rank and file, the grassroots, to be the epitome of the corrupt Washington establishment. Representative Matt Gaetz simply couldn't contain himself. He celebrated the fact that we've 86'd all the Macs in the party: McCarthy, McDonald, and now finally McConnell. In fact, McConnell's departure is indeed the latest in a long line of purging the party of its feckless anti-Trump leadership. I mean, think about it. We've ousted Paul Ryan, we've ousted Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, Adam Kinzinger, Ken Buck of Colorado's leaving. The rhino establishment is finally going extinct, and the ramifications over all of this for November simply cannot be exaggerated. McConnell himself admitted that this is now Trump's party. This is not the bourgeois party of Bush and Cheney and Rove. This is a thoroughly blue-collar, working-class, America-first Republican Party. And what seems to be happening with Trump's absolute dominance over the party is that the animosity that has thus far existed between the grassroots of the party, which is MAGA through and through, and the feckless Republican establishment, which was represented by McConnell, is still mired in the old Bush-Rove neocon paradigm. That animosity looks like it is finally being resolved. The rhino types are slowly but surely leaving the party. They're retiring. They're done. And now it's time to replace them with solid, civilizational populists who have fully unified the party going into November. Interestingly enough, the name that's catapulted to the front of the pack to replace McConnell is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. In a sign of the growing populist realignment, even RFK Jr. is coming out and openly recommending Rand Paul as, in his words, a, quote, incredible successor to Mitch McConnell, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you think about it, Rand is MAGA, but he's also libertarian enough. He's enough of a classical liberal to appease the National Review wing of the party. But of course, without being interventionist, right? We can kiss goodbye the whole insanity of funding endless international wars with a Rand Paul leadership. But his politics do significantly overlap with both the MAGA wing and the more classical liberal wing. So he may indeed be the ideal consolidator of the party in the Senate. It'll certainly be exciting to see how all of it plays out. So what do you think? Who do you want to see replace McConnell as the new Republican Senate leader? Let us know in the comments section below. Hey, gang, you know I'm passionate about our health, and I wanted to share with you this wonderful new supplement that I've been taking. It's so awesome. It's called NMN from our sponsor, Black Forest, gang. I'm serious when I say I don't know how I manage without it. The boost in my energy levels, my mental clarity, my overall well-being. I mean, this is just so good. But did you know that the FDA is actually trying to get in the way of this? I mean, it's true. The FDA is actually in the process of potentially reclassifying NMN, which stands for nicotinamide mononucleotide, as a drug. instead of a supplement, which in the end only serves the interests of big pharmaceutical companies because now they control its distribution, leaving you and me, the consumer, out in the cold. And it's no wonder why they want to do this. Studies have shown that NMN can provide numerous health benefits such as improved energy, weight management, endurance, strength, even anti-aging. But the good news is that despite the controversy, this big pharma attack, you still have a window of opportunity to take advantage of the supplement like I have. Our sponsor, Black Forest, has the best NMN supplement on the market. Trust me, I love it. And if you click on that link below right now, you can take advantage of their buy two, get one free special just for our audience. But that's only for the next 48 hours, so don't wait. Click on that link below right now and enjoy this amazing supplement while you still can today. Now, we have to talk about the huge bombshell announcement that came from the Supreme Court last night that they are indeed going to take up President Trump's immunity case. This is huge because what the Supreme Court just did is they basically guaranteed that Jack Smith is not going to be able to get Trump tried and convicted of a felony before the November election. Here's my namesake, law professor Jonathan Turley.
But the real victory here for Trump, it deals with the calendar. You know, the overriding push of Smith, the special counsel, has been to get a trial before the election. He's running out of runway. If this opinion doesn't come out until June, perhaps, you have to remember that even if Smith wins, the mandate goes back to the district court, which has to handle all the pretrial motions. That could take months. A couple of months could easily be eaten up, and then the trial itself can be 3 months. There's a standing DOJ policy not to have trials just before an election. So you're talking at the earliest, likely late summer, and it could be knocking on the door of November.
He's running out of runway. I love that expression. That's the blow that the Supreme Court just dealt to Jack Smith in his deliberate attempt to interfere in the democratic integrity of a presidential election. Remember, this is the exact opposite of what Smith tried to do several weeks back. Remember, Smith filed a desperate appeal to the Supreme Court where he bypassed all lower appellate courts and instead went straight to the Supreme Court, imploring the Supremes to make a special ruling, an expedited ruling on whether President Trump can claim immunity from criminal charges for actions taken as president. Smith demanded, he literally demanded that the court make a decision on that right away because he knew that if the court didn't intervene, the appellate process for Trump's immunity claim could take months, could go way beyond November. And so Smith, without any justification, demanded that the Supreme Court hand down a ruling on Trump's immunity immediately in their current session. And of course, the court told him to eat crow. They'll make a decision in their own time. They're not going to bend to the whims of Smith's election interference efforts. And so the original date for the court case to begin, March 4th, of course, was destroyed. That's not happening. And now with the Supreme Court saying, yeah, we'll take this immunity claim up, but not for another few months. And even then, we're not going to release our decision until sometime this summer. Jack Smith's case is basically blowing up right in front of his face in terms of his deliberate effort to interfere in the 2024 election. And you know who knows that best? The ultra-woke lunatics over at MSNBC. Here's Rachel Maddow having a meltdown over all of this.
74, I think it's U.S. v. Nixon. The court heard arguments in July, and they issued an opinion 3 weeks later. And her point about that was just that, look, that's the most similar case that we've had in our history is U.S. v. Nixon. And they, in terms of the actual opinion, moved quite quickly on that, and it was a unanimous opinion.
Well, yeah, and the other big, like, Nixon, if we're going to carry forward a thing from Nixon here, when you talk about the cravenness of the court, Chris, the cravenness of the court is evident in what they are doing with the pacing here, right? Like putting this off for 7 weeks, sitting on it for 2 weeks for no reason, obviously pushing all of the cases that they can pushing them to the point where Trump will be standing for election before any of us have heard the verdicts in any of those cases. Got it. It's the timing. But it's also the idea that the immunity thing is an open question. Right? Is really presidential immunity an open question? Because what's the most famous pardon in American history? Gerald Ford pardoning Richard Nixon once he had resigned and was a former president. Why did Gerald Ford pardon Richard Nixon? Quote, as a result of certain acts or omissions occurring before his resignation as president, meaning as a result of stuff he did while president, quote, Richard Nixon has become liable to possible indictment and trial. Right. Whether or not he shall be so prosecuted depends on findings of the appropriate grand jury and the discretion of the authorized prosecutor. So the idea that this is an open question, that it might be that a former president can never be tried for something that he did because he was president when he did it, is disproven by a plain reading of American history and the whole justification for Richard Nixon being pardoned in the first place. So the idea that this has to be taken up is them saying the sky is green.
Right.
And I think even for the non-lawyers among us to be able to say, you know what, the sky is not green even on our worst day, this is BS. You are doing this as a dilatory tactic to help your political friend, your partisan patron. And for you to say that this is something that the court needs to decide because it's something that's unclear in the law is just flagrant bullpucky. And they know it, and they don't care that we know it. And that's disturbing about the future legitimacy of the court.
My, oh my, Rachel, are you questioning the legitimacy of the Supreme Court? Dare I say it? That sounds rather insurrectionist of you. They're so livid. Did you hear her? According to the woke lunatics over at MSNBC, this is a craven court that's deliberately trying to help out their buddy Donald Trump avoid prosecution. You have to let what she just said hit you. Rachel Maddow and the woke mind virus infected lunatics at MSNBC are accusing the Supreme Court of election interference. They're accusing the Supreme Court of engaging in their own form of lawfare, of using the law for partisan political purposes. How dare you? You literally can't make this stuff up. If there ever were a case of blatant projection, here it is. But with legal analyst Jonathan Turley's assessment in the background, I mean, you could see why they're so upset. The irony of their ire is that they know now that Jack Smith isn't going to be able to interfere in the 2024 election. That was their only hope. They know Biden's a disaster. They know that. They're woke, but they're not comatose. They know Biden is politically imploding, and they know the Fulton County case against Trump is imploding under the rot of their DA's corruption. The only hope they had was Jack Smith and his blatant, belligerent election interference. And now that, as of last night's Supreme Court announcement, now even that hope has just been dashed. Oh, well, Rachel, you'll just have to find another hoax to hang on to. Over to you. What do you guys think about all this? Let us know in the comments section below. Hey, gang, I just wanted to give you a huge note of thanks to each and every one of you, the thousands of you that have recently clicked on the link below and joined our Insiders Club. As many of you know, we took a big hit from big tech. Our channel was completely and totally demonetized, but you, literally thousands of you, stepped in and you rescued me and this channel by bypassing big tech and joining our Insiders Club. You made it loud and clear to the Silicon Valley oligarchs that we're a movement, an army of like-minded patriots who refuse to be silenced by the international woke police. And so once again, I just want to take this moment to thank each and every one of you who have joined our Insiders Club for coming to our rescue. And for those of you who want to join in on the effort and take action, gang, just click on the link below and join our email list. That way we will never, ever, ever lose touch with each other, no matter what big tech does. So just click on that link below, join our email list, and become a part of an army of literally hundreds of thousands of patriots dedicated to taking our nation back, most importantly, together.